Hello, and welcome to Life in the Bitter Truth. This is the podcast where we seek to understand the deeper, sometimes painful aspects of life and what it all means to us. I'm Vittorio.
And I'm Alex. Thank you, all my fans. Also, I have hella haters right now. People just giving me the evil eye. So if you're one of my haters, I hope you stub your toe.
Ouch.
On the bed
every
single day for the rest of your life, and you know who you are.
Wow, I'm not sure who you're talking about, but I think I do. So what's been going on with you the last couple of weeks, I think it's been?
Yes.
Only because I know you were on your deathbed, and then you were off on whatever adventures in the lands of...
the desert.
The desert, right. So before we get into all that crapple, we've been getting... we get a lot of comments. Mm-hmm. Some very positive.
Yeah, we were looking over some together recently.
There was, I think the last podcast about how relationships die, I got a couple personal DMs.
Did you?
Yeah.
You're such a fucking liar. Are you serious?
Yeah. I'm going to read them.
Say?
They want to... People, what they say, I guess people slide into your DMs, trying to get to know you.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, that's what I did with Jacob. I slid into his DMs, which he loves to tell people about. It's like a flex.
I guess I got some people
happened to you.
Linked into my
wow, good for you.
They call it slide into your DMs.
Yeah, sliding into your DMs.
Apparently, they're
still got it.
They're getting. I guess I still have it. I'm not sure, but their perspective was that somehow or another I was single. So I'm not sure where that all. But based on the conversations we were having, so whatever.
Based on the conversation,
yeah. So that was kind of interesting. And then the other comments. We got some stupid ones. I mean, people are like, whatever, haters. But we love you all no matter what, right? So
everyone else.
So please like and subscribe.
Yes. Right? Share with your moms and dads.
That's right. So what's been going on with you the last few weeks? Talk to me before we get into our little conversation. What have you been doing?
Just work has been very busy with our vintage business. We've been vending during the week.
They call it vending, not selling?
No, because selling, I don't know. Vending is more specific in what we do. Like, you're a vendor at a flea market, you know what I mean? It's more specified. Whereas selling, you'd be like, selling what?
All these nomenclature, just like, whatever, I don't get it. Does anybody even know the word nomenclature? It's like, you can't even use that word anymore.
I know that word.
All these different words, So.
Well, you made me read a dictionary growing up, so I know that word for sure. Cool. But yeah, we've just been doing that and working and, hanging in here.
So, the studio's been
repainted. Yeah, we haven't even mentioned.
The studio's been repainted, so our logo's been put down.
Friggin' white.
So, forgive me, I'm working on getting the logos back up, but unfortunately, the progress has to keep moving forward.
We're bare. We're pushing along here, but we wanted to repaint the walls. Something fresh, new.
Something fresh, new. So I told everybody that stuff was coming.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that were coming, so there you go.
There you go.
So what else? What are we talking about?
Today we're talking about, like you said, me coming back from the dead, being sick.
How bad were you? I know you were.
I was very sick, but
sounded like
the worst part is that I was sick during Coachella.
Oh,
so this video is all about our 2020 our collective 2025 Coachella review. I'm going to tell you how it went for me and how it went for Jacob and everyone we went with and what we saw and all that bullshit.
Yeah. So before we started today, there's a podcast you watch, H3?
Yes, H3 podcast.
So somebody on there, I guess the head guy got himself a new watch.
Yes.
And they were doing a fit check on a watch, or what was he doing?
He's just always flaunting his new watches because he's a watch guy and we're watch people.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested, and he showed this beautiful... Oh my god, it's basically like it's like a dual skeletal. It's skeletal on both sides, not just one side.
Yeah.
And he was talking about it, and all the crew was like, dude, who cares? Because that's like a gag that everyone just doesn't give a shit when he talks about things he cares about. But for the longest time, I was trying to find the name of the watch to tell Jacob, and he finally mentioned it today because he doesn't like saying the brands because he doesn't want people
doesn't want somebody to cut off his arm or something.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But
so what's the name of the brand?
You told me it was Vacheron.
Vacheron Constantine.
There you go.
Very nice watch.
Yes.
Very nice watch. That's right. That's right. Back when I was in the market, I actually looked at that watch, but then I thought to myself, stick to what I love, and. I don't want to go. Yeah, I mean, I could have certainly bought that watch, but I thought, no, you know what, I was really jonesing for the one that I wanted. So
yeah, I'm both of us, both Jacob and I really want a his and hers Santos, but it might take a minute.
Credit card.
Oh, jeez. No, this is not financial advice. Don't take financial advice.
I'm the last person that puts things on a credit card. So
and you're the finance guy, so.
Yeah, don't listen to me. I don't put things on credit cards. I try not to ever, so.
And I didn't bring any jewelry, any watches, nothing into Coachella because I was so afraid that, I don't know, I was going to lose some shit.
Coachella.
Yeah.
I heard, so I'm going to give you my perspective on
what did you hear about it?
Right? So there were a couple things that were going on with Coachella. One of the things that kept coming up in some of the news feeds that I watch, and the podcast, some of the other podcasts that we watch, because we're fans of others. So
of course,
obviously the fashion at Coachella is a big thing, and some of the, how else can I say it? Some of the femininity that was going on with some of the. There was a lot more expression. It's the best polite way to say it, I guess. Yes. So that was interesting. And then, of course, it was a shit show from the perspective, at least the complaints were that it was taking hours to take a shower. Yeah. The expense has been out of control. Campers were, you spent so much money for I guess a parking stall which didn't have electricity. Yes, which was just
there's a lot of different tiers. Yeah.
So yeah, those are the kind of the main things. Biggest complaint I thought I read was the stupidity of the fashion situation. Kind of the people flamboyancy that was going on there. That was another big thing that I was reading about, all the nonsense about that. And then of course, did I say I already shower?
Yes, the shower issue. God, thankfully,
people couldn't take a shower. Yeah, just whatever, and the cost. People just were complaining about the cost, just out of control. And the headliners, what people go to see the show is, whatever this festival is, because of the music. And outside of maybe one or two, you couldn't catch me at Coachella for any reason. And you couldn't give me the money to go to Coachella.
I would have to pay you like $1 million for you to go.
I don't see.
You won't even go to Disneyland.
It's just amazing how people will spend their resources on that. It's not to say, God bless you, enjoy what you do. Yeah. Whatever. I would have preferred Daisy Carnival or something like that. But in the
EDC?
winter. EDC in the wintertime.
Oh, geez. EDC is on a totally different level. You wouldn't be able to survive EDC.
No. But I'm thinking, but in the wintertime, not when it's hot.
Oh my God! Because there's also
I don't like the
you
heat.
Don't like the heat, and I don't either. And we're not made for that. The entire Cuban side of our family does not like the heat and gets very, very flustered easily.
So start with the cost. I guess that's probably the best platform. So
context.
So how did you come?
How did I afford this?
How did you come to Coachella?
I'm coming into this review from a very privileged perspective. I didn't have to buy my ticket. I didn't have to buy my ticket. My partner Jacob treated us to this event.
So you personally didn't have to pay for the ticket, but one form or another, you're going to pay for the ticket.
How?
Because
through love and mercy.
No, probably. I'm kind of short this month.
Oh no, never, no. This is truly a gift for sure. And even I was like, can I? I was like, can I cover some of the food? And he's like, if you want, I guess. Which didn't even end up being a lot because we all went to Costco and split it between 13 people. So going into it, I didn't have to pay for my ticket, which was very, very, very helpful. Super thankful for that.
Can I ask what were the cost of the tickets?
Yeah. So I think both tickets we
See? She's taking credit again.
It's our money. Just kidding.
There you go. I answer the question.
Just kidding. I wish. Not yet. I think for both tickets, I think he paid with tax, everything all in $1,500, I think.
Oh my God, it's so much money.
Yeah, that's about, with tax, everything,
3-day event?
Yeah, 3 days.
So it starts on what day?
Friday.
And it ends on?
Sunday,
okay.
And oh my God, was it a roller coaster. But in terms of...
you're talking general admission?
Yes, general. We didn't get VIP because VIP was... like 1,000, starting at 1,000.
They have like 5 tiers of levels, right?
And the people that were camping, which we knew people that were camping. We ended up staying in an Airbnb with a shit ton of people, my stepbrother included. So it was very affordable. Had a pool, was pretty close by.
Walking distance or driving?
No. Still driving. We still had to park.
Okay.
But parking is included in your very expensive ticket, no worries there. But so the Airbnb and accommodations was pretty seamless.
How much was the accommodation? If you don't, do you know?
I think for both of us, we paid $500
for 3 days.
For 3 nights.
And it was an accommodation.
4 nights. But
there was how many people were there?
There were like 10 of us.
So 10 people, each paying about $500. That's
no, not each, both. So it was 2 of us. So each person paid about $200.
Oh, okay.
So it ended up. Well, the previous house that we were looking at, which was a little bit closer, we were going to end up having to pay like closer to like $500 a person because they were just racking up the prices in that area. I think the house all in was like $6,000 for 3 nights.
Wow.
Crazy. Jacob's like, we need to buy property over here. My God.
Unfortunately, that where Coachella is in relation to all these Airbnbs, I mean, it still doesn't pay for itself.
Yeah.
What does everyone do the rest of the year?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
That's how they make. That's how they make up for 3 or 4 months of their
exactly
their rent.
Yeah, and it was like I said, thankfully we were pretty strategic when it came to like food and stuff like that. I mean, we brought our own drinks, and we're not like heavy drinkers, but we did bring stuff to share, and we didn't even end up touching what we brought.
So you guys go to Costco. Mm-hmm. You guys everybody buys food, and then everybody shares the food?
Yeah, so we bought a shit ton of food because we were going to be cooking every day.
So you guys like pack like bologna sandwiches in your pocket?
No, we didn't bring food inside because it was so hot that everything was going to get warm as soon as it... Yeah, you don't want... So working nasty. For 5 years in the desert, the migrant trail, you know not to pack.
No protein bars?
Well,
that's smart,
because I got sick, I had to start packing food.
Gotcha.
midway through, but everyone else didn't bring food.
Are you allowed to bring anything into the venue? Food, yes. Alcohol, no.
No alcohol, but you can literally bring anything you want. You could bring enough tranquilizers to kill 10 million people because they're not checking anything.
So then you can bring food too, then, or alcohol too.
Oh yeah, for sure, and they did.
Oh, okay. I thought they physically checked bags and stuff like that. I thought somebody was going through.
Normally they do, yes, but like you honestly could just walk right through. They won't even look at you. Ah. Yeah, it was pretty scary.
Okay.
And we're filling like plastic tubes with vodka or tequila or whatever.
There you go.
And putting them in like tampon covered.
Oh.
No, it's not a real tampon. No, it's like a fake. That. Yeah, but she's
kind of funny.
Cameron, my stepbrother, his friend was like, "You're on your period, right? You need to carry tampons, right?" And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, here's 2.
That's just wild.
And I'm like, "Oh my God." So I ended up holding booze for everyone else.
So they're just drinking straight vodka, or they're buying like what, a $20 soda?
No, they're just drinking straight tequila. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what's an average cost of a bottle of water there?
A bottle of water? I think the bottles of water were like $8.
$8.
$8, I believe. I didn't buy any because thankfully, like Cam bought me one.
Yeah.
One of the other guys bought us one. And I also was carrying a water bottle and we would just refill it.
Okay, so they had filling stations?
They had filling stations of warm water. Yeah, for sure. It was pretty warm water. It was pretty warm. But I did have to buy a lemonade in there.
Okay. You had to.
Because I was literally dying. I had a very high fever.
Okay.
Just sweating it out. And so I did buy a lemonade.
Should have drank tequila. That would have helped that would have helped the fever.
The lemonade was $17.40, I think.
It's like Disneyland, right?
Yeah. Oh, worse than Disneyland. Yeah. And then thankfully they messed up because they thought that we had ordered 2 and really we ordered 1. So Jacob was like, oh, "Okay, yeah, thank you," and just walked away. So we walked away with
That's
2.
Too funny.
Sorry, God, but we needed it. It was very, very, very necessary.
Yeah, that's wild.
So as far as the money goes, that's kind of laying the groundwork for that. It was expensive, and people spend hundreds of dollars on the outfits and stuff like that.
Well, we'll get to the outfits. What about the other tiers? Did you see any of those people in the VIP sections?
Yeah, I was pretty jealous of people in VIP because they got better food options that you obviously have to pay for.
What are the food options?
So I was really excited to see Love Hour, which is a smash burger restaurant in Koreatown that a few of my friends are associated with.
Okay.
But then when I got there, I realized that Love Hour was in VIP. So
You couldn't just go to the restaurant.
Only
the VIP.
Only
people?
there's a specific VIP section where you can buy specific types of food.
Which tier VIP?
I think all VIP can eat in that area. Okay. Granted, like obviously every celebrity that's there, every like performer, they all are VIP, but there's separate sections for them.
Why separate when they're all VIP? And first of all, anybody who wants to spend the money can be a VIP.
For sure.
Right,
and they were selling like artist wristbands where you can like be in those sections. They were selling them outside. So I have to tell you about the scalpers. Those fucking people. Sorry, those people are crazy.
So go for it just before we jump back.
So we're obviously on the third day. One of my stepbrother's friends, her boyfriend was able to come last minute. So, right. They were able to score him a wristband for really cheap on the outside. And then they had to do this weird exchange. And while we were waiting there for Cameron to come back with the wristband, we saw the scalpers really like yelling at people like, put it on your wrist already, because the moment they put it on your wrist, they tighten it so you can't take it off. So you can't back out basically. Okay. And he's like, put my number in your phone, do it right now. What's wrong with, like, they're like being really threatening to these girls. And these girls are like, and I almost wanted to say, like, you don't have to buy it. Granted, you are here, you're dressed, you're ready to go, you're probably rolling, you're probably like a little drunk.
They force you to put it on, so they're driving you to put it on so that you have no choice
you have to
buy
pay
it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so obviously you don't know if it's going to work or not, and the people that are scanning tickets are watching as this is happening, so you kind of the scalpers are getting upset because they're like, no, we can't do it right here in front of them, you know what I mean? Right. So like it's all happening in this really crazy way, and Jacob and I were just like standing there like, oh my god, this is how it fucking is here, like this is a trip. But thankfully all of our stuff worked out fine. We initially bought tickets for weekend 2 and switched because we wanted to go with Cameron and his friends. Okay. And so thankfully everything worked out perfectly.
So the venue runs from what time in the morning or what time in the afternoon all the way through to what time at night?
I think they open at, I think the first performance is at 1.
Oh, 1 o'clock already?
Yes, 1 p.m.
Okay.
And so by that time it's already freaking blazing.
Of course.
And already miserable because obviously we're trying to get there at like 2:33. We're going to be stuck in a very long line. So
help me understand how it works. So people line up to get into the bigger venue, right? Mm-hmm. Or the venue. I understood that people have to actually pay to get to the venues, right? Meaning you have to go from wherever your Airbnb is all the way over to where...
Whether you're Ubering or you have to drive.
Ubering must have been a god's fortune.
I'm sure. Yeah. We didn't take any Ubers. Yeah. We all drove.
So
responsibly.
What was the drive? Must have been hours.
No. It took us like 11 minutes to get there from our Airbnb.
Then I was hearing that people were stuck in enormous traffic.
So what you heard was, we were stuck in pretty bad traffic on the last day.
Getting home?
No, getting in. Trying to get back into for the last day of the concert. Yeah. But in terms of those long hours, it was the people going to day 0, which was on Thursday. So the campers are allowed to go the day before and set up camp and everything. It took people like 7 hours to get in.
That's the one that I was hearing.
7-8 hours.
Just waiting in line.
And they were just sitting there in their cars and they couldn't, there's no...
I know.
Either they turn off the car or That's they crazy. Keep it on with AC, whatever. And that they were saying that it was so hot that day. And people, obviously the lines are long for the showers. People are trying to get their stuff together. And it was just a mess.
Those are for the campers taking showers.
Yeah.
I can't imagine somebody just showing up and wanting to take a shower because...
or get ready, right? So for us, being in the Airbnb, we had, all my brother's friends, all the girls together, and they're all with their makeup spread out and their outfits and their hair stuff and everything is everywhere. And I'm like, oh yeah, you couldn't have done that in the Coachella bathroom, that's for sure.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
I imagine so. That's crazy. So you guys get there at roughly about between 1 and 2. The headliners don't start till what time? Usually in the evening?
So the headliners are always going to be in the evening.
Right.
But it's in the middle where, the hardest thing for us was being able to see every person we wanted to see, right? Because if we have a group of 10 plus people, sometimes we were like 15 of us, half of the people want to see this person, the other half don't give a shit about that artist. And everyone ends up going their own way. So we spent a lot of time trying to get back to each other.
Why, if everyone's just doing their own thing?
Yeah, I mean, It was
What's interesting is that walk me through it. So since I have not been there, nor do I know how.
And this was my first time too, baby's first Coachella.
Yeah. So it's a big open event, and they have multiple stages.
Yes.
Yeah. And so each headliner or there's music always playing.
Always playing everywhere you go.
Somebody's always performing, right?
Yeah. So and even Jake was saying this, that, we would be walking to go and see a DJ, for example, and then we would literally be hearing like Megan Thee Stallion just performing right there, and you just see people just not even giving a shit, just walking straight ahead because they're trying to see someone else. So they're passing like a huge artist like Megan Thee Stallion so they can go and see someone else.
Interesting.
And that's how it was, where granted, we saw Green Day on their anniversary tour.
Green Day. Oof.
Do not even go
Green
there.
Day,
Anyway, we saw them. Jacob took me to see them on their anniversary tour. He's just helping love my inner child, okay?
Green Day.
It was amazing. Anyway.
I love Green Day.
haters, you better at him in the chat. Anyway.
Oh, I know. They always do, so.
But as we were walking to, I'd have to check specifically. Right. I'm just like waving at Green Day as we go. Yeah. Because we're trying because we're trying to get to someone else, and it just felt like it felt really difficult because I'm like, what the heck? I want to see Missy Elliott, but then everyone wants to see Missy Elliott.
Really? She came out of the woodwork?
Yeah, wow. I know. It was epic.
Wow. That's
so
cool.
Because I wanted to see Missy and Jacob wanted me to see Missy.
Okay.
We had to miss a DJ that everyone freaking loves, which, mind you,
DJ Snake?
No, her name was Sarah Landry. I don't know. Look, call me a hater all you want, but at Sarah Landry's Coachella performance, she wasn't even touching the board. Okay, she was just dancing. So are you actually a DJ?
It's not real.
Yeah. What the? Anyway, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And then, so what's the other ones they do? Not that one. That's the one. That's all they do.
Yeah, so Freddie and don't do that. Yeah. Anyway, so that was difficult. Is having to kind of separate a bunch of times.
Okay, so you get there between 1 and 2, and there's no seating, right?
No, there's just standing.
My back.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Our genetically bad knees, were killing me.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
And there's dust flying everywhere.
So what was intriguing, we'll get to the outfits, but it was from all the pictures you posted, mm-hmm. I know we were jumping around a little, so.
Yeah, it's okay.
But one of the pictures you posted was of Jacob, and he was wearing all freaking black. He was wearing jeans, a freaking hat,
the day he wore
his
jeans.
long-ass hair.
Yeah.
And a black shirt.
And I asked him,
I looked at him,
sure?
I looked at the picture, I'm going, I'm dying for him.
Yeah. And I asked him, are you sure, babe? Are you sure you want to wear jeans? He said, yeah, whatever.
I would wear shorts.
And he always wears black, so that's his...
He did have a fanny pack, though. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, he had his water pack, for sure. And
I was joking. I didn't see
no, it was a water pack that he was carrying water for me because I was dying. And
if he was wearing a fanny pack, he would have been ridden a lot harder.
Really? Oh my god.
That's just wrong.
You're his hater now.
It's just wrong.
Whatchamacallit. But he was just consistently fanning me because it was just devastatingly hot.
How hot did it get?
I think the hottest it got was like 110.
Oh my god.
And I've been out, like I said, out in the desert, working in the desert many times over, right? Outrageous. Carrying lots of weight on my back. But it was different. It was different this time around. And so I felt, immediately my nose was clogged. And the first day was fun, right? We were excited. It was all new. We were kind of like just observing and everything like that, going and seeing some of the artists that we really love and we're excited to see. And then I started kind of feeling like shit towards the end of the night.
Okay, so you talked about the tickets,
mm-hmm.
the Airbnb, and now you're talking about, we talked a little bit about food, so nobody ate?
That first day...
While you're at the venue?
we snacked a little bit.
Okay.
I will say when you are drinking and partaking in different...
Pharmaceuticals?
Yes, which I was not, because that's just not my vibe, but it's okay. The people around us, you don't really get very hungry. And so I'm always hungry. And if I'm like trying not to have a fucking panic attack in the heat, I need to direct my attention somewhere else.
So since we're on topic or on that point, let's talk a little bit about
the drugs.
The drugs.
Oh my God.
So was it a lot? Was it open? People, I have to imagine people were smoking weed everywhere.
Oh, for sure. I was hitting the blunt too.
Weed's become like alcohol. It's pretty benign. So no one gives a shit about weed.
Right.
As long as you're not doing it behind the wheels. Okay, young folks.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
that was the smallest issue.
I read something where ketamine.
Yeah.
Was big.
I didn't hear of it.
That's what I was hearing.
Yeah. Ketamine's huge right now anyway.
And what is it?
Ecstasy.
Ecstasy.
Yeah. In our group, what was really popular was Adderall, which was surprising to Jacob and I.
Because it keeps you focused.
Yeah. So I guess the mixture of Adderall with alcohol is like a speedball, I guess.
Okay.
Look, that's not, again, I'll say it again, that is not my vibe. And even Jacob was like, Adderall, really? Of all things?
Yeah.
But it was a huge hit.
All the college kids like to use Adderall to keep them focused.
No, I know that for sure. Yeah. I've seen that so many times over. I've never taken Adderall.
Keeps you alert.
Yeah, I've never taken Adderall. I've never needed it.
Yeah.
I will say proudly I never needed help in any way in college. I wrote all my damn papers by myself, and did it well. But
had ChatGPT version 4.0
see, I didn't even have
been
that.
Around when I was in college, I probably would have got done a lot faster.
I'm sure
because it is just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been also finding out too that a lot of people at work are using ChatGPT. I'm like, guys, aren't we not supposed to do that? I don't know. But yeah, I saw a lot of people doing a lot of drugs. And
what were what kind of drugs did you see them do? Coke or
something
besides weed?
Things that were most shocking to me, and granted, like maybe I'm underneath a rock and just don't go out like that, but a lot of Coke. Yeah,
really?
People just doing Coke out in the open. Yeah. Wow. which is I feel like one of the scariest drugs to do, just because of all the lacing that's happening. But
fentanyl, you mean?
Yeah. But yeah, just no shame in the game, just out, you know.
Crazy. And what about security?
Yeah, there were none.
So there were no police inside the venue monitoring, patrolling, anything. No security?
I didn't see any.
Wow.
Maybe one or two. But there was no one patrolling, checking people, seeing what was going on. There was actually a guy. This was our last day there, and I was already feeling like very low in the dumps. So Jacob had gotten me some food, but while I was eating, this is even before Post Malone, like before the night even really began.
Right.
There was a guy that, hundreds of people are passing him, and he's just there like standing like a zombie. And just like slowly, he had to have been on something hard, because he was just slowly going back, and then he would catch himself, and then he was just really.
And nobody went to go help this kid.
No one helped him. Wow. And it was sad and Jacob was like, well, he must have come here with someone or a group, and he just got lost or left or whatever. And that's the scary part about these festivals, is that anything could happen to you if you're not watching yourself. Yeah. And that's another reason why I haven't really partaken in a lot of drugs, not really experimented a lot.
The only reason, because nobody will be there to help you?
I'm nervous about control.
Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah. I'm nervous about someone doing something to me.
Well, drugs are,
Yeah. So I never put my drink down once. Like, I'm very hyper aware when I go out.
A lot of creepers out there.
Yeah. So maybe that's why seeing that type of drug use is shocking to me.
Yeah. Out in the open, maybe it just seems like that way.
Yeah.
This is more like a closet approach rather than out in the open with people out there. Yeah.
Right. And even the people in our group that were like doing psychedelics, like, so I've always been interested in psychedelics, but and therapists have recommended psychedelics to me, but I feel like in a situation that's brand new to you, like a festival, I'm like, I don't think that should be the first time. Yeah. I think it needs to be done in a very controlled. Again, Here I go, like trying to control it, right?
Controlled environment where you can feel the effects of the mushroom.
Yeah, but it was funny because a few people in our group had done psychedelics throughout, but especially on the third day, on the third days when people go all out, right? Yeah. And they, because it's the last hoorah or whatever. Right. And we ended up getting stuck in a lot of traffic, and so. when you're taking, you know, your chocolate mushroom, whatever the hell, and you're expecting to see the waves and all this stuff, but you're stuck in the car in traffic and heat. It wasn't fun for those people. So
so drugs were prevalent everywhere. And
it was pretty scary a little bit.
So
and booze, people were throwing up.
Really?
Which is another thing too that you taught me growing up was never throw up, never drink to the point where you're gonna throw up.
That's nasty. Yeah.
Don't be a bitch and throw up.
Well, the expensive going down. Why throw it away going back up? I don't know, whatever. But so a lot of people drink beer. Was a lot of beer drinking?
No, it was really just hard liquor, I would say.
And so they had bars all over the place?
Yeah. So they had bars that you could get stuff at. We didn't buy any alcohol.
What was the typical cost of a drink? Do you know?
Oh my gosh. There was a whole section for Red Bull, so they were pushing like Red Bull vodka and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And I think
an upper and a downer.
That's the worst. That's the monster drink right there. But I think I saw maybe around $30
for one drink.
Wow. For a double, I think was around $30 to $35.
They had any kind of like Fat Tuesday type drinks?
No, they didn't.
That's what they should do.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it would have. Well, so what?
Fat Tuesdays, if you're listening, get your asses out to these carnivals. Give me credit and get your asses out to these carnivals because you guys would clean.
Oh, for sure.
And I know they're a little bit franchisey, but
it would be very refreshing too. I'm sure.
That's what I'm saying.
The only thing about Fat Tuesdays is very sweet.
Yeah, but so what? It's cold going down, and you're
happy.
Yeah, you're happy, and then you get that sugar.
Yeah, some people in our group were buying the $16 lemonade and then just pouring whatever they pulled from their sock or whatever. You know what I mean?
From their sock.
Yeah, some of our girls had their boots filled, and I'm like, oh my god,
so
that's funny.
True. So as we get through this, this conversation, let's talk a little bit about. There's two pieces, right, that I heard on the news, right? So, and I don't believe all the news that I read, certainly not. I certainly don't watch People Magazine news.
Oh my god!
I watch a whole plethora of types of different news, but it was fairly consistent across the social media sense. So.
The fashion is my passion.
The fashion was just ridiculous, like it usually is. People, the scantily clad girls and that kind of stuff, and of course some of the flamboyancy that was going on there is a nice way of saying it. So I don't know, where do you want to start with that? Because
I can start with the flamboyancy. Yeah.
Was there a big contingency at gay community?
Yeah, huge. Yeah. Which this is my first festival ever, let alone my first Coachella. So was it like the Pride parades, that kind of? It felt like that, wow, yes. Really? And I had only ever been to one Pride because in the organization I used to work for, we did a 5K to raise money. Yeah. So that was my first time, and the amount of how do I say this? Male genitalia I saw at Pride was pretty.
In Pride. Yeah, you see some of that. So it is what it is. They're letting it all out.
Yeah. That was weird, but.
Do you expect that at the Pride parade because they're it's about their celebration and their time and that kind of stuff? But at a concert, did you at the Coachella?
I didn't expect that. No, I saw I saw of everything, every person. Yeah.
No,
but there were a couple times whether we were seeing Lady Gaga, of course, Queen, or we were seeing Charlie XCX. Obviously, the gay community is huge. Queen.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So
I can imagine Lady Gaga, but not.
Charlie, yeah. Charlie's got the gays on lock too, for sure.
Cool.
But we were standing there waiting for Charlie, and I just turned to look to the side. We're always like looking around, seeing what's up, and there was just probably a group, I would say, of like 11 buff, very tall gay men coming at me at the same time.
Okay.
Very quickly, very fast. And I'm like, I felt like myself lose my breath. And I'm like, oh my God. And Jacob's like, oh, I think they're here. And he would like pull me because I think they wanted to come through. But they just stopped me in my tracks. They were barely wearing anything. And they're all like huge and all tan. And it just seemed like a movie. I'm like, you guys are fake.
Yeah.
But no, they were real.
What they call it, the beefcakes.
Right? Yeah, just in bright green, Charlie XCX, a neon Speedos. So
it's a huge outing for the gay community.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
everyone was.
What about the trans community? Or not? I guess it would be trans. But
the trans community.
The more performative, or is it? Because I think, and don't everyone get all bitchy about shit like that. I'm just trying to make sure
what's up?
I put it
right
correctly.
in the chat.
You've got the like the burlesque kind of a trans, or is it just performative, or is it just trans? You know what I'm? You know what I'm
No. Are you saying that are let's see, how do I say it now?
I just want to make sure I understand which type of groups were there.
So where they're passing or not passing. So the
passing, they're throwing words out. I don't understand what
so
that means.
That type of terminology basically asserts to trans people where you can tell they're trans, right?
Okay.
You see the in between, either the in between or the both, where they have a mustache but they're wearing lipstick and they're wearing a dress.
Yeah, that's what
right?
I was kind of getting at.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So there was both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it must have been quite the
accepting community there.
Oh yeah. No, I'm just saying it's just the vistas must have been just crazy with all the different people.
All the different types.
I love watching people in all of their environments.
Yes,
so
and it was interesting too because I got a lot of looks for looking normal. Yeah. Which as a vintage business owner,
should you say normal or plain?
Plain.
Probably
plain. Yes, I was very plain Jane. And that's the thing. I don't have that type of expression.
So that was what you saw. Any outward like genitalia and all that.
Oh
stuff?
yeah, we saw titties, we saw ass, we saw
from
everything.
The gay community?
Oh no, I'm talking about the girls.
No, I was talking about the gay community.
Oh yeah, we saw that too.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
we saw
outrageous.
that too, yeah.
Just out there?
And I'm like, oh my God, I thought your body is sacred. Don't show that to me.
I mean,
it's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
People do shit.
I'm telling Jacob, babe, look.
Can you imagine?
What the heck is going on over there?
I just saw that.
Yeah, literally. So
that's wild. That must be interesting. I mean, just to be. I will say one thing for. They're not all young. I'm assuming they're old.
There's different ages.
It's just you got to give it to people to cut loose and to be free and to do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
It comes from. It's not a generational thing as much as it's I guess a modesty thing. That's not the way we were raised.
100%. And even Jacob would be like, "Oh my God, babe! Like, what the fuck?" Seeing some of the women. Obviously, it is the intention.
So get to the women now. So now it's like, now young and old dressing a little risque, or
mostly all young.
Okay,
yeah.
That must have been a sight.
Yeah, it was a sight, and for all the people in
Jacob's got his camera out everywhere.
No. Okay. For all the people in the chat or in the comments that think that we're not feminist or whatever. I was raised by my parents, by a very traditional family. All the women are extremely poised and elegant and beautiful and sexy in their own way, and they don't necessarily have to show you all of it. Right. So that's kind of how that informed everything about how I dress and present myself. And so at Coachella, for the people that know, I own a vintage business. And so I have lots of beautiful inventory that would have been great for this event.
Right.
But it's up for the people, right? I'm putting it on the rack to sell. So, the pieces that are in my inventory, that are in my personal archives, I am not going to damage those pieces with sweat and potentially booze and whatever gets thrown at me.
So what you saw was, let's take some of the gals that you saw, some of the girls that you saw that, so what would they be wearing? Bikinis or is it like cut off shorts?
So the big thing this year,
patterns, right?
All the TikTok trends were lots of. I mean, obviously Coachella is known for like the bohemian flair, but it's essentially
you got to describe what that means.
But it's like crochet dresses, crochet tops, but like nothing else underneath.
Really?
Yeah, that. Obviously Coachella is very influencer.
Sure.
Based, and so. All my gals, they've got their fake this and their fake that, right?
You're talking their packages on top
and on the bottom too.
What does that mean? Bottom. What do you mean by bottom?
BBLs.
Oh, Brazilian butt lifts.
Yes.
Okay. And boob jobs.
Yes.
Augmentation.
Yes.
Okay. Lifts.
Many augmentations that we got to see.
Big ones, small ones.
Lots of money that has been spent for sure around town.
Looking peppy.
Sometimes no.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, it wasn't always.
And they were just out.
Yeah.
Visiting everybody.
For sure.
Saying hello.
Yeah.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We saw more. We saw more ass than anything, though. I would say.
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Booty shorts or whatever.
Not even that. Just no underwear or thongs, and then see-through pants, like mesh pants. And that was like a big thing.
And so, is it like a big hookup scene too? I'm
not too sure, honestly. Wow. Yeah, I don't know, but let me just say really quick for the baddies that wore bathing suit bottoms underneath their clothes, it was fucking hot. It was very hot, and so imagine that neoprene fabric rubbing against your parts in the heat. Y'all better go to the doctor and get checked, seriously, because it was
that the UT?
It was extremely hot, and if I was sweating in my clothes, I couldn't imagine the rubbing and just the body not being able to breathe under that type of clothing.
Were they wearing a lot of latex too?
We didn't see too much latex, no, because of the heat.
Yeah,
but I
can imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the thing too. You might look great for, the first hour, but after that, everyone looks fucking busted.
I can't imagine you get there all some makeup all and a tee, the hair is frizzed, whatever, ready to rock and roll, and then your outfit's on par or on point, whatever they call it, and everything's hanging out, and then 15 minutes later, after the sun hits you, you're like,
it's done.
You're like a mop.
Yeah, for sure. And all the girls that we were with, we're talking about, just, bring lots of accessories. We're all going to share accessories. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. If the outfit is basic or a little shorts and a little top, whatever. And if you just add a bunch of accessories on top, it'll look great. That's normally the formula for this type of stuff. But I don't know about you, but when it's extremely hot outside, I can't have like 10 chunky necklaces on. I can't have, bangles up to my elbow, rings, like I can feel my feet swelling, and I have very thin, small feet. So if I notice that difference, it was fucking hot.
So I have to ask the question to somebody who hasn't been there, but so you've got, and I'll say this as polite as I can, ladies. So relax, okay?
It's okay. You're also a dad.
You've got the big girls and the small girls, right?
Yeah.
Right? And
lots of diverse.
So you've got diversity in
body types, body shapes, yes.
Body shapes, and not shaming. So relax, okay, guys. I'm just asking questions.
Okay.
So they were all how can I say this politely, right? The big girls were hauling out too.
For sure.
Really.
1,000%. Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I was proud.
Okay, no,
I was like, you know what? Fuck it. You do your shit, girl.
You own it.
Like,
that's right.
Don't think that you have to conform to these TikTok standards of all these influencer girls telling you what you should and shouldn't wear or whatever.
Sure.
Everyone was. The only thing I'll say is everyone was wearing essentially the same 3 outfits. Style. Yeah. There was not really any individuality, which kind of sucked.
So, of the gals with different body types, who were more out there? The smaller or the bigger?
The skinny girls, I would say. Yeah, the skinny girls. Yeah. The only, again, like I said, the only bad part is there's just no individuality.
Because everyone's wearing the same.
Everyone saw the same videos on TikTok.
I don't even know the video on TikTok, so it's
just like Coachella ideas for this year, blah blah blah, and then the different like Shein products.
Yeah. Oh, Shein
or Amazon. I saw so much Shein, Amazon everywhere.
What's funny about that is I was watching. I don't know what news article was, but they were talking about these outfits, and they didn't mention TikTok about it, but they mentioned. Whatever they just I saw that maybe it was their Instagram where you saw Coachella's favorite outfit for the weekend or whatever it was, and a lot of mesh. You're right.
Lots of mesh. Yeah. I mean, they showed some celebrities that went week 1, which mind you, we didn't see any celebrities, not one. But they showed let's say.
Does anyone really care about celebrities?
No, I don't personally, but we don't. Jacob and I. But they showed what Kylie Jenner wore. and she literally wore like a white top and jeans, like so basic, right?
Yeah.
Like not even, I mean, her hair looked beautiful, but
Kylie Jenner's the one who's the model?
no, that's Kendall.
Kendall, okay.
Yeah,
Kylie's the one that is...
was with Travis Scott.
Was Travis Scott.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And yeah, they were dressed very basic, you know, not trying to show up anybody. But yeah, I think granted, this was like my first time going to an event like this.
Right.
It was pretty interesting.
I can only imagine how Coachella and all so what was Jacob? I got it. I mean, what was?
Oh God, I would love for you to ask him. He was just like, "What the fuck?" And I literally looked at him and I was like, "Babe, you've seen more ass today than in your entire life." And he's like, "Oh yeah, growing up, you know, very sheltered.
Yeah. And
this is not something that I'm not normally around people like this."
What about the rest of the group? Were they just what? Trying to get with girls and
all the guys no. They were, everyone was kind of minding their own business in terms of just our group.
Okay.
Cameron would have never gone there to meet a girl or whatever.
No, not Cameron.
Yeah, definitely not. So
interesting. So it was just out there. Was a show.
It was a show.
I would have loved to be out there with an umbrella, big umbrella, right? Like a big, huge golf umbrella, and I could move it whenever I needed to, with a fucking lounge chair.
Oh yeah,
just sitting there
ice
and watching
cooler,
people.
Yeah. For sure.
And just sit there with my nice cool drink and just watching people. It would have been such a event just to sit there and watch people.
Definitely.
Of course, I'd have to be in the shade.
Yeah, and even
delicate skin, so.
despite me getting a fever second day and coming down with the flu.
Pussy.
I know, right? I'm like, damn, am I just old? But Jacob was sick the week before, so I'm like, I probably just got it from him.
Right.
But despite that, I mean, the dust was insane everywhere.
Oh man.
You know, blowing my nose and just all black. Sorry to say.
Yeah, it's just, I can
but
imagine.
you know, cleaning my ears, everything was my hair. You could feel that it was coated in dirt.
So it's not. There's no grass.
There were some spots of grass. Yeah,
it's
some spots, but it's
dirt.
just, you know, there's so many people shuffling through the desert. So it's all in the air. And there were a few people that were wearing heels and that were wearing sandals with bare feet. There were some people with no shoes at all.
I was going to get to that. So I saw some that they were wearing boots.
Yeah.
Boots?
Yeah, boots.
It must have been so freaking hot.
Oh, it was super hot.
And then high heels in dirt?
But the thing about wearing boots for Coachella, granted, it's like Western, a lot. That was one of the aesthetics, was like Western theme.
Yeah.
You can hide a lot of stuff in your boots.
I get the hiding of alcohol and drugs and all that shit, but I can't imagine the heat that's involved in wearing that. Did they have lockers that you could rent?
Yes, they did. They did have lockers. Yeah. No one really uses them though. Everyone's just carries whatever they think they'll need.
Okay.
But it felt like we were going to fucking Disneyland because you had to like prep like, okay, you know, if what do I need for all these hours?
Right.
Because you're just standing around waiting for the next person or whatever. And because I had come down and got sick, I did have to, you know, supplement with food and buy different things to keep myself going. Because granted, I was 100%, well, not 100%, but I was sober. I wasn't drinking at all.
Yeah, I get it.
And, you know, when you're not drinking heavily, when you're not doing any drugs or any uppers or anything, Coachella is a very different experience when you're sober.
I can only imagine.
It is not as fun.
I'd have to be passed out.
Yeah,
knocked out.
It's not as fun. Like I felt myself like just hitting a wall because I'm like, dang, everyone else is on some shit but me, and I'm just like trying to push through here, and I could probably go to sleep right now and sleep off this fever and sweat it out, but I can't because I'm fucking stuck here.
So of all of the outfits, what was the one that was, and I'm talking, give me from two body types, most outrageous outfits that two girls were wearing or not wearing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember this girl. She was kind of dressed like a doll. You know, it's like a very common aesthetic with like no. Oh. It's a very common aesthetic within like the
furry
Rancho Mexican community where like you dress kind of like El Chapo's wife, where you have like the big lips and the big boobs and the huge BBL.
Oh, okay. And
seeing that kind of combination, all of them together in mesh, while the person was very obviously sweating a lot. That was interesting. But the other thing I would say that was shocking was all the high school kids that we saw there.
Okay.
And their interesting outfits too. Because I'm like, oh, you're a child. Oh, shit. Okay.
So wait a minute. So there's no age limit?
It's all ages.
Really?
There were children there too with their parents. One of our family friends, Katerina.
How do you hide Junior's eyes?
You don't, and
Wow.
that's the crazy part. And one of our family friends was actually had a babysitting gig for Coachella. She was babysitting
Smart
children for the
Very
the parents
smart.
of the family, and she had VIP. So she's like, oh, I want to meet with you, but I can't leave the kids.
Yeah.
And so if the parents wanted to go off, they
That's
could
cool.
go, and
That's
she
fun.
would hang out with the kids and eat with them and watch something.
Dogs as well? Pets?
Yeah, pets are allowed as well. But like the people that brought their pets to Coachella, I feel like that's low-key animal abuse because it was just too hot for them.
Yeah.
I would have never brought my pets to that.
Interesting.
If you can't drink enough water, I can't imagine you giving your dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were lots of kids and lots of high school kids that you could tell you're like, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You know, like
you shouldn't be looking at them.
For
right?
sure. Yeah,
Wow.
they're children. So it just kind of felt like
Outrageous look.
I felt like I was just kind of avoiding looking at people a lot of the time because I'm like, oh my God.
That's why everybody wears sunglasses. You
Maybe.
can stare at people and
not have to worry about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was
Crazy.
it was a lot.
Yeah.
And Jacob was just telling me like, I can't imagine you being any different than how you are. And I'm like, no, he kept saying, how is someone like that?
Yeah.
And how did you guys have to grow differently?
It goes
childhood
yeah.
for you to be the way that you are, respectful
Yeah.
and aware, and then for other people to be like that. I'm like, ain't nobody need to see all that.
It goes back to, I guess,
Very sacred.
an earlier podcast we have about modesty and all that stuff. So
yeah.
So let's talk about some of the music.
Yeah,
because I had heard Post Malone was going to headline, and I would love to see Posty.
Yeah, he was great.
But I don't think I'd pay to see Lady Gaga per se. I mean, I'm sure she did a great job.
Jacob
And
asked me yesterday if I would pay to see Lady Gaga again, and I'm like, honestly, I would, because she was so amazing.
She did music, from what I heard, she did music that she hadn't done before.
Yeah, well, all across the board.
Yeah,
new stuff, old stuff. She was playing all the classics, so it was fun. The crowd was great. The crowd was great for Missy Elliott. The crowd was great for Posty. Everyone was happy.
Yeah.
I was pretty disappointed when I saw Travis Scott. I think I had built it up for so many years that I wanted to see Travis Scott.
So Travis Scott was there, and that his ex-wife was there too.
Yeah.
Did she go see him?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. And Jacob was saying, he's like, okay, so Kylie Jenner's there. All her exes are there. Travis Scott.
That's funny.
Well, and Timothy was there, obviously.
She gets around.
And Justin Bieber was there. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, that's too much.
She gets around.
But yeah, I was kind of disappointed in Travis Scott.
He didn't.
I don't know, it seemed very lackluster. Granted, I had only had, Astroworld based in my mind. And so we were in the front. So I'm like, oh, we're going to fucking rage right now. And I'm like going to pass out. But no, I think they're just being very careful because of all those lawsuits and everything like that, the deaths that had happened. He's not going to incite that.
Which makes sense. Was your favorite there, Kendrick Lamar?
No, Kenny wasn't there. No.
Was the other? What's his name? Drake was there?
No, Drake wasn't there. I had to ask. Your favorite? That's your favorite.
So we had Post Malone, Lady Gaga,
and Charlie XCX, and then Green Day was one of
Those were the four.
Oh, there's actually the three headliners were Lady Gaga, Posty, and Green Day. They were the three main.
Really?
Those are the big, But there were lots of people shuffled in between that were also big, that had lots of huge crowds.
Like what? Give me one.
Trying to see them. I mean, people were really excited to see Missy Elliott. People were excited to see Megan Thee Stallion.
That's old school, right? So Missy Elliott, yeah.
A lot of throwback stuff. People were excited to see Glorilla.
I don't know nobody by the name of Gorilla.
Glorilla.
Is it Gorilla?
Glorilla. The Go-Go's were there.
The Go-Go's. That would have been cool.
The Go-Go's were there. We didn't get to see the Go-Go's.
That's too bad.
There were lots of DJs that were there that...
no B-52s? That would have been cool.
That would have, right.
That would have been fun.
But I think those were kind of the big ones from Friday.
So they all performed on Friday? They don't perform on Saturday? They only go one night and then boom, they're gone?
Yeah, so on Friday, the big headliner on Friday was Lady Gaga. DJ Mustard, we saw DJ Mustard as well.
Okay.
And let me see some of the other big ones. Missy Elliott. We missed the Marias. They're very big right now. We saw Dijo. I think that's how you say it. Do you remember the show Stranger Things?
Yeah.
So one of the main characters, this is his band.
Okay.
And he has a really popular song.
Okay. I don't know.
I'll sing it for you later. Okay. I'm not going to sing it right now.
No J-pop?
Yeah, there was lots of...
XG was there, wasn't she? What, weren't they?
I think so.
Oh, that would be
And then
cool.
there was also lots of K-pop people there, too.
Okay.
Lisa was there.
I don't care about her, but Baby Monster?
Baby Monster? I don't know.
All these bands.
I don't know. 3-6 Mafia was there.
I don't know that one.
And then Saturday, obviously, some of the big headliners was Travis Scott.
Okay.
The Misfits were there.
I know the Misfits.
Horse Girl. Have you ever heard of Horse Girl?
No, I haven't heard of Horse Girl.
I don't like her. She's a DJ, but she's not really my cup of tea. But she wears a horse mask.
Oh, that's
and people are like obsessed with her.
So there was that one song
relax.
you were singing, and we were talking about it before we started the podcast, and she was dressed and she's just a little over the top, and she's like, it was just nasty. It was just
who
the one song that you were singing, and I said she looked awful. She was wearing pants and a tank top and
oh my god, you're talking about Lola Young.
Yeah,
Lola Young was great. We got to see her that was the first performance we saw on Friday.
That's a one-hit wonder, right? She's got no other music.
I mean,
much like Roan Chappelle, only one song.
Do not even say that about Chappell Roan. Okay?
Chappell or whatever her name is. I don't even
she is not a one-hit wonder. Granted, her new song is like not that good. But Lola Young, I've heard that her album is good, the whole album. Okay. But I was really there, obviously, to see her one-hit wonder.
Her one-hit wonder. That's right.
And I did get to see that.
Okay.
Jimmy Eat World was really great.
Who?
Jimmy Eat World.
Jimmy Eat World?
Yeah.
Don't know that one.
We're talking throwbacks. Green Day, come on.
Greenwell.
Let me see what else. Disco Lines. I think we saw Disco Lines. Another DJ for a hot second. Oh, the LA Philharmonic was there.
That's
with
cool.
Dudamel. We missed that.
That would have been cool.
Because it was right next to Charlie XCX, so we weren't going to miss Charlie.
How was Charlie?
She was great.
Yeah.
The energy was great. Yeah. She looked great. She didn't look too crazy. Yeah. She doesn't ever really look too risque, honestly. Yeah. But the crowd was friggin' wild. Everyone loved her. So
was there a lot of EDM music?
Yes, lots of DJs. On Sunday, it almost felt like we were just at a rave because we just saw so many DJs there. I feel like Sunday was kind of dry.
Big DJs or just whatever.
They were pretty big DJs, I would say. Yeah, I would say so.
Who?
That you would know?
David Guetta?
No, there weren't any like crazy headliners like that. No. Okay. Some of the bigger people right now are like Horse Girl.
Don't know. Oh, the Horseface Girl.
Horseface Girl. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it felt like.
So what did Posty sing?
Posty sang new stuff and he sang old stuff, but all with like the country flair.
Oh, okay. So he's been to he's been into that.
And he did really good. Yeah. And the crowd was very engaged.
He's a super nice guy.
Yeah, he seems he was super great up there. And at the end, he gave a little speech that, he had been trying for years to do this and
just couldn't work.
And it didn't work. And he believed in himself when no one did. And if we believe in ourselves, we can do anything, all that good stuff. Okay. And I was like, fuck yeah.
And I heard that Gaga did a phenomenal job.
Oh my God, Gaga was everything. Yeah. Everyone was so happy. Yeah. The crowd was amazing. Everyone was just really feeling it. And she was incredible. And even weekend 2, so the weekend after we went.
Weekend 2?
So there's 2 weekends.
The weekend, not...
No. There's 2 weekends.
Yeah,
weekend 1 and weekend 2.
Yeah, gotcha.
And we went the first weekend, but the second weekend, I guess Gaga was having problems with her mic. And so she made a comment like, well, guys, that's how you know I actually sing live.
That's good. That's funny.
She's like, I'm trying my best here. We're having technical difficulties.
She went a cappella?
Well, she was singing just...
So nobody could hear her.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
But they fixed it and everything.
The amount of money that they spend to go see these shows and the freaking technical side.
I know. Yeah. But it was great. All of the artists that we saw, the vast majority of them were really good.
Very cool. So the best band of the entire 3 days for you, or best group or whatever, best show.
The best show I would say was either Gaga or Charlie.
Nice. Okay, cool.
my girls.
Very cool.
It was good.
Very cool. So all in all, do it again, never do it again.
All in all, I would probably do it again.
Really?
I think so.
No Burning Man next?
Mm-mm.
Not for Jacob?
I'm sure he would love to go to Burning Man. Oh my God, that is totally his vibe.
Burning Man's probably an older crowd. Probably,
yeah.
I think it's kind of merged into younger people too. But
for sure.
Jelly was an older crowd, but
for sure. I mean, in the conversations that he and I have had, in the past few months, or this is probably like a year ago at this point, but he had said like, babe, like we can't have a kid until we go to Coachella.
Oh God.
And so
there we go.
And so I'm like, oh God, here we go. So then when he bought the tickets for Coachella, he's like, see, we're moving towards, we're getting things done. I'm like, good. Oh my God.
That's good.
So anyway, I think I'm sure in the future, depending on the lineup, we might go again.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I don't know if I'd ever, like I said, I don't think you could pay me to do it only because of the heat.
Granted, like I said, it is so difficult to do when you are sober. You cannot be in that type of heat and that type of stress and just that type of general discomfort walking back and forth. We walk 20,000 steps each day just because we were walking so much.
It's that static heat that's
you almost have to be on something.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was in Japan over the summer and I was dying from the heat, but we were moving, right? So it was hot and humid, but there was always some element of cool. We could get cool or whatever.
Yeah, you didn't have that here.
No, it's static. It was static, dusty and static.
And then it was bad because once you get into
was it humid or was it just hot?
It was humid. It was humid as well. Yeah. So once you get into the stage, kind of the covered stages, you're surrounded by people. The body heat and it's hot and it's all enclosed. And there was one moment where I turned to look at Jacob. He was behind me the whole time fanning me. He was fanning me so much. And I turned and looked at him and I said, I can't breathe. I literally cannot breathe.
I would have been aggro the entire time.
And I felt like I was a little bit.
I would not have enjoyed myself. So you'd go back and do it all again? Even though?
God willing, I wouldn't have been sick, that's for sure.
So sick, and then the heat, and that's just a combination of things.
And Jacob felt so bad because he's like, oh my God, like we were so excited, but you came down with it during it. And he's just like, we had built it up so much that you were going to have a good time, and now you're just suffering. Yeah. So, but...
Well, we'll interesting. Good for you. I'm glad you got to... unfortunately, you were sick, so...
Yeah, it's okay.
So. Very cool.
I'm back now.
All right, then. I got a great story, so... great. So anything else? What else is going on?
That's really it. Just trying my best out here. It's my first week of not having a lump in my throat, so
very cool. Good
we're doing good.
All right, guys. Well, that's it.
Let us know what you think. Let us know how you felt about all the performances and our comments on them.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for joining us again on our podcast. And if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Yes. And we're also on all the other platforms out there, Apple, iHeart, and
everywhere you can hear
Spotify,
podcasts.
Everywhere you can hear podcasts, we're on them. So thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week. Bye.